physicians can help nurses, dietitians, exercise trainers. But all of these professionals, they have the specifics of their professionals, and then they do lifestyle on the side. But preventive care, we eat, we drink, we have in our blood preventive care. This is our main business. And that's why this is the program that the world needs. So, with these words, I start the program, and I will ask you to pray with me for us to start. Heavenly Father, we are here together as a family, and we thank you. We thank you for this program. We thank you for inspiring the pioneers to start this program, Dr. Mervyn Harding, 50 years ago. We are very grateful for that. We are also very grateful for our families, because you know, preventive care specialists are very passionate about what they do. And sometimes family suffer. Family have a struggle, and so we thank you for having kept our families together, that we could do our work of prevention. We thank you for the leaders of this institution, because they kept this program alive. We thank you for the opportunity that we have for service. We thank you for the students in this program, and we ask you to bless them and their families in the work of prevention that the future has for them. We thank you for the food that we are about to eat, and we thank you and ask your presence now in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Now we would like to have our dean to say a few words, and then we will eat first, okay? Dr. Barrett, please.
Thank you, Dr. DeSantos. I'll try and keep my comments brief, since I am standing between you and dinner. Real quick, this Thursday I had the wonderful opportunity to have a visit from Dr. Wayne Dysinger. And we spent about an hour together. And it was so refreshing, the conversation we had, because he shared with me challenges he had then and similar challenges that I have now navigating the space that I'm navigating. But what what hit me in the conversation was the rich history that the School of Public Health has. And I think if you speak to any administrator off mic, they will say that the School of Public Health is the most closely aligned to the mission of the university. And I would take it further by saying that preventive care is the closest aligned to the mission of the university. Not only that, but preventive care, you guys are the most passionate alumni out of all alumni. I have had many conversations with Dr. Blix over the years when I just started, and my journey here started in student services, so students are extremely important. So having students come back, having alumni come back, that's my jam. That's where I get excited. I wanted to say that the School of Public Health is extremely proud of each one of you, and we want to encourage you to keep in contact with us. Esther is our Director of Admissions and Alumni Relations. Please give her your email address. We want to keep in contact. It's not just about asking for money. We want to let you guys know what's happening. And I've heard that comment several times today already. We would like to hear from you, and we want to keep in contact. So follow us on Facebook. Those of you who have Instagram accounts, please tag us. We're doing great things here, and we want to make sure that you are aware of it. So welcome. I'll not say anything more, But just to let you know, we are deeply proud of each one of you. And please, let us know what's happening, the progress that you're making professionally. We always want to keep in contact so that we can let our students know where our alumni are and what they're doing in the world. So thank you so much, and welcome to campus again.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Barrett, and the time is coming for us to start eating. But I want to emphasize one thing. Esther has done, you stay there. Esther has done an exceptional job decorating this room. We have to thank her for that. Okay, I think we are ready to start. Esther, you coordinate this. And so now you can keep talking and eating at the same time. We are going to continue with our session, and then we have a special music now by Dr. Andy. Andy was the director. He is a preventive care graduate from the year 1996. He was the director of the Pacific Health Education Center in Bakersfield for many years, and then has worked in several countries in Asia, in China, Korea, Singapore, Taiwan, and more. So it's our privilege to have Dr. here now presenting a piece on the cello and violin. Thank you very much, Dot. Let's have a hand for him.
It's such a delight to see many old faces that grow younger by the year. Caught myself. I'm not going to play the cello and violin at the same time, Ernie. One by one. The cello for the Tchaikovsky wrote a really beautiful piece for cello called Chanson Triste. And I'm playing that in memory of my revered professors, namely Mervyn Harding. 1975, he taught in Singapore. Our college there had 150 students, and 150 students enrolled for his course. And also Glenn Blix was my professor, and Wes Youngberg was my mentor, and the reason why I took preventive care. Thank you, Dr. Wes. So I'm gonna play the cello in memory of those professors and students in the past. Then I'm gonna play a violin you never heard in your life. It's an octave violin. It's a regular violin made here in Loma Linda by Harold Rees in 2001. And he really thrived in the blue zone here. He lived until last year, 102 years old. So I'm gonna play his violin, but it's gonna sound lower than a viola. It's like a regular violin, but the strings are one octave lower. And I'll play that for all the brand new preventive care students and all the newer professors here in your memory, like Ernie, my classmate, now he's a professor. So if you enjoy, clap loud. If you don't enjoy, clap soft. Oh, by the way, the violin will be Oh Danny Boy. The violin solo will be Oh Danny Boy. same strings. E, A, D, G. That's a pitch of the regular violin. And I just took a regular violin and put these thicker strings on it. So we call it an octave violin, or you can say a baritone violin, which sounds more baritone. Anyone heard a baritone violin before? No one? Well, this is your chance to hear it. Go home tonight and tell your children or whatever, I heard a baritone violin for the first time in my life.
I'm gonna tell my grandkids that I heard a baritone violin today. Thank you very much, Andy. We are happy to have representatives of every single preventive care generation here. It's exciting to have you guys here. Now we will ask, I asked Dr. Hart to be here, but he had a commitment with the School of Pharmacy. They have an event at the same time that we are having that. I almost called the Dean of Pharmacy to cancel their event, but it's too much. But we have a representative from Dr. Hart, and for the Provost, Dr. Helen Marshak will speak a few words for you today. Thank you, Dr. Marshak. Let's have a hand for. Thank you. Thank you.
You know you're old when you've got so many of your students in the room. Hildemar was one of my students. Ernie was one of, many of you were one of my students. So although I'm speaking from the office of the provost, it's really, my heart is in public health. I became a faculty here in 1991. Ernie Medina, who doesn't know Ernie Medina? He was one of my first students. And it was a real privilege, and I mentioned this to Arlene earlier. I actually came to the School of Public Health to help out in health education. My background was in social psychology and health services, and I came here following the legacy, there was another Hop, not Marshak, another Hop in the school, Joyce Hop. She served as a faculty in the School of Public Health, is still serving as a faculty emeritus in the School of Public Health. But the School of Public Health was very special to me. I grew up here. It has aged as I have aged, the building, but it's always been a very special place. So when I came here as a faculty myself, I knew I was coming home, and it was very special. How I got into preventive care was really due to Dr. Glenn Blix. It was probably not even a month after I arrived. He said, Helen, you need to be doing more than health education. Please don't tell my former boss, Christine Niche, that he did this, but he said, you need to help out in preventive care. I said, I don't have a degree in preventive care, Doctor of Health Science. But he welcomed me in, and I learned so much from serving on dissertations, from being a part of the preventive care, formerly Doctor of Health Science community. I learned about all the things I needed to be doing and the way I needed to be living. But this is a special group of individuals, all of you alumni here and around the world. You are passionate about lifestyle. You are carrying the torch for what lifestyle is about. From what we've learned from the Adventist Health Study 1 and 2, you put it into practice. And that means so very much to so many people. You change lives every single day. So on behalf of the university, I have enjoyed my time in public health. I am still part of public health. My heart is here. I just kind of slid down the hill to McGann Hall and administration there, but it has been an honor and a privilege to be here, to see so many of you, and I just welcome you back home to the School of Public Health. Congratulations, you made it. Oh.
So she mentioned my name, but I know there are many people here who she served on their I want if you stand up, if she was on your dissertation committee or research committee, stand up. So look at that. Look at that. Okay. So, and by the way, this is Dr. Nelson. She's the program director for the DRPH and Health Ed, but she is also, like you, doing a lot of stuff in preventive care. So he's roped her into preventive care. So it's now I want to ask one more question. How many of you took a class from her? Go ahead and stand up. Or yeah, stand up so we can see if you took a class from her. And I want to say one more thing. She's very passionate about preventive care, and she's also now the associate provost. Do you notice a sort of a theme there? They all begin with the letter P. Preventive care, passionate, provost, and now she's learning a new thing in her life that also begins with a P. And what is that?
Do I need to say it?
Come on, you can say it here in front of everybody.
Pickleball, yes, I'm taking lessons.
All right, give her a hand, folks. Well, she won't let me videotape or take pictures of her playing, but wait a year, and then you'll see her in her first tournament. Next year, homecoming tournament, a year from tomorrow, right? Okay, yeah, you heard it here, folks. She's here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marshak. It's, I would say it's a family. And it's a long time since we don't have a group of people from the old folks to the new folks. I really appreciate what Andy mentioned about singing a song for the seniors, and then singing or playing a song for the seniors, and one for our new students here. So I didn't know if I feel like a senior or a student on that thing, but we are gonna go now to a different. Is this okay? Yeah. We are gonna go a little bit on the history of the program, and then I'll try to be as much accurate as I can, because the dates and the directors, if you have a different information and you disagree with me, you talk to me later and then I will fix for the next lecture. But so far, nobody has disputed with me this because it happened 50 years ago. So now let's review in a few minutes the history of this program. The DRPH in preventive care, the program that the world needs. Let's go for the beginning. The beginning was Dr. Mervyn Harding. Dr. Mervyn Harding founded the program in 1972. And then he put the name as Doctor of Health Sciences Program. He was the director until 76, and also he was the founder of the School of Public Health. I'm sure Dr. Harding will mention a little more about that later on in the program, but I just want to mention that the period between the starting of the School of Public Health and the starting of the preventive care program was just about 5 years, or 72. We started the school, he started the school in 72 and he started programming in 1967, just 5 minutes of difference here to see how important this program was for the school and according to Dr. Mervyn Harding. He was the one that started the Adventist Health Study, the first one, and also he died in 2010 with only 96 years old. I like this picture that show his book, My Unexpected Life. Aren't we all have an unexpected life? How about you? How about me? I have to tell you that story before I go forward. I am from Brazil. My parents were poor and were uneducated. They have been 3 years in school and that was it. But they pushed for us to go to school and to study. And then I was able to finish medical school in Brazil. And in my family, I was the first one. Among my siblings and my cousins and my close relatives, I was the first one to have a degree like that. But then I came to America, and then in 1992, and then I finished the Master in Public Health in Health Education and Nutrition, and on that time they have a double major. And then I entered in Preventive Care. I remember that I was talking to Dr. Blix on that time to figure it out if I should go to Preventive Care or Health Education. And he looked at me and he said, "You are a Preventive Care student already. So it's not Health Education, it's Preventive Care." And that's it. Now I am here after, 30 years. I am a director of the program. But after I finished in the year 2000, I went to Hong Kong. And that's what I'm saying, that there is a combination of an unexpected life in my life. I was never expecting to come to America when I was working or living in Brazil. And then I never expected to go to Hong Kong and stay there for 6 years. And I never expected to be a professor in Loma Linda. I was talking to a friend of mine who was also a DRPH in preventive care. And one time he told me, I'm going to go to Loma Linda and I'm going to teach in the program. And then I was thinking, this guy is crazy. He thinks that it's just go there and talk to Dr. Fujimoto on that time and tell him, hey, I come here because I want to teach, and then they will hire.
I was thinking, well, that's not gonna work. But it started having in my mind the idea that, hey, maybe one day I can teach, who knows? And then I start cooking that idea, but with a very low expectation, okay? And then I decide, okay, if I go to schooling, if I'm gonna be a teacher and I need to know a little more research, if one day I might ended up in Loma Linda, so I decide to apply for a lower level, and then I figured out that La Sierra was looking for a professor for their bachelor's in health science program. And then I applied for that. And I thought, well, if I apply for La Sierra, I will build up a little more my teaching skills and maybe my research skills and in exercise. So I'll be one day maybe ready for Loma Linda. So I applied for that and was approved by the director on that time, and we did interviews by phone, and then I had all the requirements that they ask. I had a master's in public health. I have a DRPH, a doctor in public health. I have an MD, and I have a certified nutrition specialist, certified health physiologist, exercise physiologist by the American College of Sports Medicine. And then, I have a certified health education specialist. I think they were happy with my curriculum, and I was thrilling to come back to Southern California. But they didn't hire me. They hired Bill instead. Bill is always with me. By the way, when I went to Hong Kong, Bill was before me. I'm talking about Bill Andrews over here. And then when he left Hong Kong, I came after him. Then he went to IAS, and for a while I was thinking, well, IAS was a good point, but Bill never left IAS on that time, and that I was looking for. And now I came to La Sierra, and Bill took over La Sierra. But I was very disappointed, nothing to do with Bill, and I even didn't know that Bill was the guy, because I ended up knowing that a few years after that. But I was disappointed with the Lord. I said, well, I want to teach now, and maybe, okay, Lord, maybe that's not teaching, is not for me, and I'm going to continue working in the field of health education. And then a few months passed, and I was able to find a few jobs in the area of health promotion, even within an Adventist hospital. And then one time I got an email from Dr. Modesti, and Dr. Modesti said in the email right there, exactly right there, we are looking for another professor for preventive care. Would you like to have this job? Out of the blue, they invite me. I didn't need to look to apply, to send my resume, and nothing. Just came like that. That's what I'm saying. My unexpected life, as Dr. Harding has his. And the rest is history. I am here since then, since 2007, and then since 2014 I've been the director of the program. But let's go to the other directors. Dr. Gunther Fuchs graduated in 1979. I believe he was the second director of this program. He was the founder of the Center for Health Promotion, and today he works with Fox Group, that he is a founder and senior partner. Dr. Gunther one time came to our grand rounds and mentioned about a center that they used to have in San Diego for weight management on that time, and they even promote this in the Los Angeles Times. recruiting people to go to San Diego, and this was run by preventive care specialists, by doctors of health sciences. Then we have Dr. Niemann, that is one of the most famous academically preventive care graduates. He was the director of the program between 1986 and 1990. He graduated in 1984. Today he's a professor in North Carolina in the Appalachian State University. And look at this. I mean, I haven't seen anybody with that amount of publications, 370 peer-reviewed articles. And he also served as the vice president of the American College of Sports Medicine. Dr. Nima is a very avid marathon runner too, and he has been one of the most expert in exercise in the country, maybe around the world. And then in 1992, Dr. Blix started with the new era of a program. Dr. Blix was responsible for the change from Doctor of Health Sciences to Doctor in Public Health in Preventive Care. Dr. Blix also was the founder of the Healthy People Conference at Loma Linda University, that was running a few years ago, and then they terminated the conference. I don't know the reason for that, but it was, I remember I was working in Hong Kong for 6 years, and I never missed 1 year to come to Loma Linda to attend the Healthy People Conference. And then in one of the latest one, I was one of the speakers with that. We have a program about heart disease prevention, and Dr. Tonstad and myself and a few more preventive care students were together presenting topics on that. After Dr. Blix passed away, unfortunately, in 2002, Dr. Edward Fujimoto became the director, and he was the director between 2003 to 2007. And he was a former nuclear engineer, and then he graduated in 1982. This is a guy that was around, and he was in Guam, and as you see here, he was in Hawaii, and he was in Tokyo Adventist Hospital in the Health Promotion Department. And in 2007 to 2013, Dr. Serena Tonstad became the director. She was not a graduate of this program. She was a medical doctor with a PhD in preventive medicine, but she was the one that strengthened the research component of the program. And she was responsible for the first clinical trial in a big, I would say, level, in a higher level, the first clinical trial that was the fiber study with a grant of $100,000 from the Ardmore Institute of Health. And then from 2014 until now, I am here, and everybody knows me, so I don't need to talk much more about me here. There was at least 3 guys that were interim directors between those major directors, the time that they were choosing other directors. We have Dr. Modesti, we have Dr. Adam Arechiga, and then we have Wayne Dysinger. I believe Adam was a director between Dr. Tonstad and me. I believe he agrees with that. And then we have famous graduates from the program. We have Dr. Fred Harding on the left. He was the son of Dr. Mervyn Harding, and he was the one that is going to speak to us today. Then we have Dr. Don Hall from WellSource. We have Dr. Hans Diel from the CHIP program. We have Dr. Carlos Crespo that was appointed a few months ago to be the Dean of the School of College of Applied Health Sciences in the University of Illinois. And then we have in the bottom left Dr. Lee Burke. That was important research, the first research on laughter and the immune system. He's still a member of our committee, by the way. Dr. Roy Vartabedian, that is, wrote a book, The NutriPoints, and invented or designed the system, the NutriPoints system. And Dr. Wes Youngberg, that work with diabetes. I met Dr. Youngberg in Guam when he was in charge of the Guam Adventist Clinic health promotion department there. And then he came to America and has his own clinic in Temecula, and he has a good reputation as lifestyle specialist. And then besides the diabetes undone program that he developed, he is developing an expertise also in the prevention of Alzheimer's. Other famous graduates, Dr. Marielle Westerberg, she is the CEO for the SAC clinic here in San Bernardino. Dr. Luis Schneider, that was a professor in the School of Allied Health in the Department of Nutrition for several years. Dr. Gigi Kwok Hinsley, she is an expert on supplements and a researcher also in the area of supplements. And Dr. Brenda Rea, who is also a physician and works for the School of Medicine in the Lifestyle Medicine department. Dr. Ella Haddad, she was my mentor when I did my master in public health. And then she was a graduate of our program. What a privilege. And she was a professor in the School of Nutrition for several years. Dr. James Peters, this is the guy that has every single other degree. He was a physician, a respiratory therapist, a nutritionist, but mostly he was a preventive care specialist. Dr. Rosario Sakamoto, she is a professor at the School of Cal State Fullerton. She teaches in the nurse department. Dr. Brian Haddock is a professor in the school in the Cal State University San Bernardino, and he is specialized in exercise. This is our committee. So besides me, we have Dr. Medina and Dr. Palani that they help quite a bit in the program. So we have now, this week we completed 40 students. We have 39. We have more than that and we have less than that because a few students ended up postponing their admission or dropping the program. But we have a few students from other countries like Brazil, Mexico. I have one from Brazil, one from Mexico, 4 from Saudi Arabia, one from Hong Kong, one from Barbados, one from Trinidad, one from India. This is our subcommittee. So we have all the guys here that I didn't mention. The ones that I didn't mention was Dr. Moses, Dr. Nelson, and Dr. Knowlton. And our latest acquisition was Dr. Larry Beeson. And Dr. Larry Beeson was with us for a long time, and he is a very supporter of our students in their dissertations. And he was helping so many students that we felt that we need to invite him to be a member of our committee. And we invited and he accepted, and now our team is complete. One of the challenges that we have as a preventive care specialists is the lack of access to the medical system and not having a license to practice. By instance, I have a few certificates, but all my certificates were not able to provide us access and reimbursement for services given to patients. And this, there was a time that I heard that some of the graduates even tried to sue the university because the university was offering a program and there was no job market for that program. And that was a little complicated. But after almost 50 years, I would say we are not done yet. So I would say after 50 years, we have the hope that preventive care specialists can get their clinics, can get their access to patients, having a health coach certificate. This is the one that I got from the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches. This certificate will allow the American Medical Association is working on producing codes that the health coaches can be reimbursed for their services and be included in the team for medical care services in hospitals and clinics. So we are going in that direction. Even without that one, a graduate from Loma Linda University that wants to work with the certificate that we give, they can have their private patients. Of course, they are not going to be reimbursed. They are, even with the national board, they are not be reimbursed yet, but they are going on that direction. But this is really an exciting time that we provide a program and we have the ability to combine this with this health coaching certificate. One of the main features of this program is based on spiritual influences, and mostly with the example of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and healing every disease and sickness. And this is our motto, to prevent and heal people that come to us because we are followers of Jesus Christ. In our tradition, we are in the blue zone, Loma Linda blue zone, and then we have, like Loma Linda blue zone is just a sample of the Adventist church, the Seventh-day Adventist church. And then being a sample, Loma Linda follow the traditions, or at least we promote these traditions that are here for more than 150 years. And these are the 8 remedies that make a big portion of these traditions: nutrition, vegetarian nutrition, exercise, mostly natural exercise, water, sunshine, and temperance. I mean, no alcohol, no smoking, even coffee. For years we are not promoting that. And then air pure, or pure air, rest and trust in the Lord. With the trust in the Lord, we put a lot of other things like relaxation, prayer, and faith, and socialization, and mostly helping other people, caring for the poor, caring for the suffering. This is one of functions of health too. And this is our family. When we have the time of Dr. Blix, we met in his house for every single year, and I remember, and those are very good times. And then when we saw, even after he passed, we continue going with Dr. Arlene Blix to her house. But then there was a time that we stopped that. And then for the last 10 years, we have developed this preventive care Christmas party. And during the COVID, we did virtual, and I hope this year we can do presential again. But even if you do presential, we might open for a virtual to have it online, because some folks that are far away overseas, they might not be able to come. But in any case, this is our family. And I tell my students when they get into the program that they are joining a family. Preventive care is a family, and we have our grandparents, the senior graduates of this program. We have the parents that are my generation, the faculty and the ones that support the program at this level. And then we have the kids that are the students. The students are my children, I say. And that's the same thing that Dr. Blix considered them. He was helping this student, and he helped me. I remember one time I have a struggle with my committee, and I came to Dr. Blix and I told him, Dr. Blix, I don't know, I mean, this committee was not working together. I put two professors that never worked together in the school. And then, you know what he said? Hildemar, you are free to dismantle your committee and form a new one. Find out who you want to work with is your call. And I did, and I finished my program with a completely different committee. I mean, he was even a member of my committee as my mentor. But he was open, and he was giving us the freedom that we need. And I hope we can follow his legacy as we continue with this program forward. Okay, as every single family, we need to go, we need to have fun.
This is the lifestyle song. It has the lyrics of that. I put the lyrics, but it's an old song or a children's song from Brazil. So let's try to see if we can go together. It's not a solo. I want you to follow the lyrics and sing with me, okay? Today I'm gonna be a healthy person wise. Today I'm gonna change my life, my diet, exercise. No more cancer, no more heart diseases. I'm gonna be a healthy person wise. No high blood pressure, neither diabetes. I'm gonna change my diet, exercise. Everybody! Today I'm gonna be a healthy person wise. Today I'm gonna change my life, my diet, exercise. I'll eat my fruits with my beans and veggies. I'm gonna be a healthy person wise. I'll drink more water and have no morning stress. I'm gonna change my diet, exercise. Today I'm gonna be a healthy person wise. Today I'm gonna change my life, my diet, exercise.
It's interesting. One day I present this song in Spanish when I was in Peru. And then 1 month after that, a guy called me from Colombia. And then he said, can I use your song for a program here? I say, okay, no problem. Yeah, I need your authorization because we run a radio program. And then they they contract a professional singer with orchestration, and they are running a health lifestyle program in Colombia with this song, the lifestyle song. So I'm happy with that. Now I mentioned that it's a family and we need to have fun. So I will ask one of my students, Michelle Pechek, to do the raffle. This is raffle time.
Hello. All right. So when you came in, hopefully you were given 2 tickets. Have a surprise or 2 that's in here and some cider. Thank you, Yumam. Oh, you know what? I want to acknowledge Yumang and Razaz for helping me put these all together. Thank you. If you have ticket number 772593, you're our first winner. 772593. Ruben, come on up. So you know how this works. Yes. Okay. So now that you and the next ticket is 772681. 2681. Come on up. All right, come on up because you better pick the next one. All right. Got all kinds of stuff in there. Okay. And our next one is 772599. 772599. Make it nicer. I know. Okay. Okay. Who has 2599? Who has that? All right. And this time we'll keep things going even faster. We'll let you have 2 tickets you're going to draw. And thank you very much. And now back to our regular programming.
Good evening, everyone. So my name is Kemi Adeoye. Not everyone knows me because I'm not a graduate of the Preventive Care program, but I'm a preventive care student at heart. I'm currently back in school in the DRPH program in health policy and leadership. Not that I don't love preventive care, but I love administration more so. But my role here today is I represent the person that Dr. Barrett was talking about. You get all the information from the school and you get people to connect with you and you get them to ask you for money. I'm not here to ask you for money. I'm actually here to thank you for all you have done. I wanted to share about one of our fellow colleague. Well, he's not a colleague here, actually. He's one of the grandfathers of this program. That's the way I see him. Dr. Eric No. Six years ago, Dr. No came to me and he said he wanted to do something. He wanted us to honor the founding dean of the school, Dr. Mervyn Harding. His son is here today, so that's awesome. And he said that, what can we do? How can we honor this amazing man? And usually when I meet with Dr. No, I'm like, okay, so what are we going to talk about today? And I was like, really? You want to honor someone else? You don't want to put your name on this fund? And he said, no. He said, it's not about me. It's about the school. He's one of the most passionate person I have ever met. So thank you, Dr. No, for what you have done. But we started this fund. It's called the Mervyn Harding Preventive Care Endowment 6 years ago. And the idea was it needed to grow to 50,000 because that's the minimum amount for us to have an endowment in the school. And it took us 2.5 years and we got 50,000, which is amazing. But right now, I am proud to let you know that that fund has grown to $163,000. And that is because of all of you here. We have over 85 donors that have given to this fund. So this is just to say thank you for what you have done. Thank you to Dr. No for reaching out for us to start this fund. And what does this fund do? It supports students. It provides scholarships. It supports faculty. It supports opportunities to bring professors and researchers and conferences. It also supports Dr. Dos Santos Preventive Care Clinic in the Drayson Center. So thank you.
Thanks, Kimmy. I get the honor of introducing our speaker for tonight, Dr. Fred Harding. He has a master's in religion from Andrews University, a master's in public health from the Loma Linda School of Public Health, and his doctorate in public health and preventive care. He's been recognized by the Delta Omega Society Kappa chapter, fellow of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, as a registered dietitian. Dr. Harding is passionate about the fact that health is achieved one small choice at a time. He's an internationally recognized speaker on a wide range of health topics. His background includes pastoral ministry, academic teaching, community health education, corporate training and consultation, lifestyle center administration, and private health counseling. He is known as a creative educator and motivational speaker. Although now retired from being an associate health ministries director for the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, he had the privilege of spending significant time sharing, consulting, speaking, and teaching on health and its relationship to spiritual life and mental well-being in more than 140 countries around the globe. I'd like to see your passport or passports, right? Dr. Harding has a keen interest in all areas of health, recognizing that robust and vigorous health comes only through balanced living. He is a registered dietitian and has been recognized as a lifetime fellow by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. He also served for several years as a consult to the Federal Aviation Administration in creating a database of research demonstrating the relationship of health habits to cognitive performance. He continues to serve the General Conference as a nutrition and lifestyle consultant and as a chair of the General Conference Nutrition Council, a global group of nutrition professionals. He was co-founder of BibleInfo.com in 1995 and currently is the founder and director of PositiveChoices.com. He enjoys a variety of healthy pursuits. Top among them are hiking and cross-country skiing. Carpentry and writing bring great satisfaction and relaxation. He has a wonderful wife of 52 plus years, April, who is an accomplished pianist and nurse. The joy of their lives are 2 grown children, their spouses, and 5 awesome grandchildren. Dr. Harding, we welcome you here.
Thank you, Ernie, for those kind words. Maybe I should lift this up a little. We'll try that. I'm deeply humbled to have the opportunity of addressing you here at this 50th anniversary of the Doctorate in Public Health in Preventive Care. I am also humbled to be able to represent the founder who is now deceased. And I am just thrilled to be able to see some and recognize some of those who were classmates with me when I was here. I graduated in 1977 with my Doctor of Health Science before it was the DRPH. And I believe that that was the third year of the program of the graduates. I wish that my sister was able to be here. She preceded me, not in death, but she preceded me in graduating from the program. And I kind of followed along, even though she was a little younger than I was. The Lord had to take me a little more circuitous route. But I'm very happy that her son, Kevin, is able to be here representing her. She's very much alive and well and is preparing to go on a mission trip to Guatemala and was not able to be here for this celebration. I grew up here in Loma Linda, and I would never have dreamed that I would be standing here before you today. And neither would any of my classmates. Because at Loma Linda Academy, back when I was there, my classmates voted me as being the least likely person to stand before an audience and give a talk. It may come as a shock to some of you, but I was very shy. Growing up in the home of our founding dean, Dr. Mervyn Harding, who seemed always to have a ready and eloquent answer for any situation that he was in, who wrote and published in the finest of the scientific journals, was much in demand as a speaker, lectured almost daily to graduate and medical students, was way more than I could have expected in my life. Those of you who knew Dr. Harding when he was the dean here know that in addition to being not only an intellectual, but being professionally educated and accomplished, not only here at Loma Linda, but at Harvard and at Stanford, he was also a very godly man, one who was very dedicated to his Lord, one who had a daily experience with the Lord. I saw that daily growing up. Every morning, I woke up, and when I first saw him, he was studying the Bible. And I saw that all of my growing up years and all of the founding years or the growing years of this school. He was a wonderful father, encourager, and educator. When I told him in my teens that I thought that the Lord was calling me to be a pastor, his response to me was this: Fred, if that is what God is calling you to do, he will help you to be a wonderful and competent pastor. I didn't believe really that I could do that because I knew that I would have to write sermons and preach them, and I was sure that I could not do that. It was a conflict in my life because I felt the Lord calling me there. It started when I was 13 years old, and yet I knew that I couldn't express myself, and especially in front of a group of people. If you doubt that, sometime ask my wife what it was like to go on the first sermon in Covelo, California that I ever preached. she will tell you, it was a very painful experience. It was painful for her, and it was painful for me. My dad never pressured me to do anything other than what God was calling me to do. As a young man, I had much to learn. While I was in a theology major at Pacific Union College, and also taking a business major because he told me I should do that, it's been a wonderful blessing, but I think he wasn't sure I was going to make it as a pastor. But we were digging a ditch on our property here south of Loma Linda. And the topic about my education came up. And he said to me, "Fred, have you thought about taking some science classes? Because someday you might like to be a student at the School of Health." I hate to admit that this evening. It's really rather embarrassing, and I've apologized before he passed away for this many times. But I distinctly remember looking at him as we each had a shovel in our hands. And I said, "Dad, science and health are your thing. God has called me to ministry." And there was a certain sense of pride in what I said. It was wrongly placed. He said, I don't need any science classes. He just looked. He didn't respond. And we kept on digging. God had to take me through some tough and amazing experiences in my early career for me to see the wisdom of the counsel that he was giving me at that moment. Today, I'm so thankful for what he shared with me. I praise God for the influence of this school and this particular program. The Doctor of Health Science, now the Doctor of Public Health and Preventive Care, and how it has contributed to my life, to my work, and the contribution it has made to so many graduates, many of whom are in this room this evening. God, in the education I received here, helped me to overcome that shyness. And I thank the Lord and this school for the contribution it has made. As I have advanced in years, the significance of the history of people and the events that they have been involved in have become more and more meaningful. I've had a growing interest in reading history. Having grown up in the home of the founding dean, I would like to share a very brief history of the formation of this school from the perspective of a kid growing up in the home of the dean. The School of Public Health was born out of a smoldering conflict between the Department of Preventive Medicine in the school and the Department of Preventive Medicine in the School of Medicine and the Division of Tropical Medicine and Public Health. Some of you, and I won't point out who they are, will remember the old Tropical Health building that was the first School of Health. That was before this old portion of the sanitarium burned and the School of Health was given what was remaining. And some of you may remember there were 2 floors above this, part of the old sanitarium. And when the fire came, the county said you can only revamp that 1 floor and the basement. And hence that's where the School of Health has been. since then. But before that, and the tropical medicine was in the graduate school, in the university. One day in 1962, the president of the university invited my father, who was then chair of the Department of Pharmacology, to join a small committee to try to iron out this conflict. The consensus after the committee met was that they needed to appoint a czar to knock heads in order to bring peace among these warring factions. My father strongly objected to that approach, convinced that it would spell doom. They asked him why he was objecting, and he replied, both groups should be brought together under the umbrella of a school of public health, with a department of epidemiology, health education, and nutrition to begin with, a fledgling school that might form common ground and bring these warring parties together. This idea was scoffed at by the committee as being way too ambitious for the university, especially since the university at the moment was struggling with bringing the two campuses of the medical school together, one from the White Memorial, the other here in Loma Linda. And the committee, at the end of their discussion, said, but we do believe you should be the czar. And he replied, not under any circumstances. The conflict raged for 2 more years. In May of 1964, I was working on the Orange Grove, the property that we had, and we took care of it as a family. I was working with him one Sunday, and I think we were digging a ditch. We did lots of that. My mother came out. There was no cell phones in those days, and she came out and told him that the university president wanted to talk to him on the phone immediately. And so he excused himself from me. We kids had been planning to spend a nice family evening together. And after he took the phone call, he immediately went, took a shower, changed his clothes, and as he was on his way to the office, he stopped where I was digging and he told me that he had to go. And the president had asked him to present to the board at 9 o'clock in the morning, the next morning, a proposal for a school of public health. And this was around 4:30 on Sunday afternoon. And he went to his office, and he always told me, because later I asked him, what he did when he went to the office. And he said, I knelt down by my desk and I said, Lord, and he said, Lord, give me grace and wisdom to know how to put a proposal together by 9 in the morning. He realized there was only time for an outline, and in the morning he told the president that that's what he would present. He presented it the next morning to the Board of Trustees with very little discussion. The formation of the School of Public Health was voted in principle with a detailed report that would be required and a 5-year budget to be presented at the August meeting, the next meeting, which was in August. The university president asked him to prepare that report. And I can remember that he was extremely busy that summer. Yes, he gave me plenty of chores to take care of at home, but there was more time than I had expected, and I took advantage of going to the swimming pool in that time. That summer, He canceled his camp meeting appointments, which was disappointing to my sister and I. And he traveled to visit the accrediting agency in Washington, D.C., and he visited several schools of public health. It was a very busy summer for him. When August came and the Board of Trustees met, he was presenting the proposal now in detail, and he was interrupted by one of the board members who said, "How much is this school going to cost?" And he replied, "A lot more than anyone can imagine." And immediately that was followed by a comment by the Vice President for Finance who chimed in, "It's going to cost a whale of a lot of money." And as the details were being presented, a board member interjected and said, "I move that we establish a school of public health." There was an immediate second, and a third voice called out, "Question on the motion." And without any further presentation, it was unanimously passed to begin the School of Public Health. By the providence of the Lord, this school continues to train people to serve the needs of the world. It wasn't all a bed of roses. When the two professors who had been part of the warring parties in those two departments, when they heard the decision of the board, they both immediately resigned. But before they left their offices, they began to destroy all the records. They destroyed everything except for one box. I had been conscripted by my dad to help Ralph Moore, and a few of you may remember Ralph Moore, who was a technician in the Department of Pharmacology and then later came here to the School of Health before he retired. He was a very faithful person, and I had been asked to work with him and go through the mess that had been left to see if there was anything salvageable. And together we found that box. And it was filled with correspondence written to anyone they knew about who was in favor of the School of Public Health, urging them not to cooperate and to be totally against it. One of those letters was written to the chairman of the accreditation committee for the schools of public health in America. And in that letter, they wrote a dozen reasons as to why they should not allow Loma Linda University to have a school of public health. Later, because of the circumstances and the timing, that letter cost the School of Health in its early days, that's the early 1960s, $800,000 in grant money. But the Lord still provided, and we still have a school today. The university administration and the board then requested that my dad become the first founding dean, or the founding dean. His career had already transitioned from being a minister to a physician, to teaching in anatomy, then to pharmacology. And in between, he had received his PhD or his Doctor of Public Health from Harvard in nutrition. All of his friends said, "Don't do it. You've already made transitions. You don't need to do this one." But on his knees, and I can remember family prayers at that time, earnestly asking for God's direction in this decision. he made this decision to shift because he felt God was speaking to him and calling him to do that. These experiences were often shared with me as I began my career and faced various challenges, and I consider it a great privilege to have been able to talk with him, counsel with him. And he would often say, "Do you remember such and such?" And then he'd even flesh the story out a little more. The Lord answered his prayers for faculty, facilities, equipment, accreditation, which came in 1967. If it had come in 1966, that $800,000 grant would have been available. It took a heart attack, well, actually, he died of a heart attack, of the chairman of the accrediting committee, not the visiting committee. They voted unanimously to accredit the school, even in the early days. But the chairman, who was not part of the visitation committee, was the chairman of the school, or was the dean of the School of Public Health at UC Berkeley. And it turns out that he didn't think there should be another competitive school in the state of California. And he postponed the decision on accreditation, even though the accreditation visit committee had unanimously voted to give accreditation. He postponed that, and then he had a heart attack and died. And they lost the deadline, or they missed the deadline for that grant that I mentioned earlier. Those blessings, and there were no question, there were many blessings, were intermingled with frustration and even harassment, especially over the budget year to year. I remember my dad came home with a twinkle in his eye one evening. As we sat at the table eating, my mother said to him, "What's so funny, Marvin?" And then he told us a story. He said it was board meeting that day, and there was a president of the university who he said could talk out of both sides of his mouth. And they'd been discussing apparently the budget for the board, for the School of Health. And he finally raised his hand. He was acknowledged. And he said, "I spend my time, my life as a teacher, trying to make difficult things simple. But I also have a hobby of sometimes making simple things difficult." He said, "Let me illustrate. There are individuals who have the ability to phonate out of their oral cavities simultaneously and bilaterally. And about half the board laughed. The other half of the board," he said, turned to the person next to him for an explanation. And when they figured out, they laughed too. He loved to do that kind of thing. In 1965, he took the first sabbatical, the only sabbatical that he got in more than 45 years of being on the faculty here at LLU. And it was a trip that took the whole family around the world. He always told me that the idea of the Doctor of Health Science program was born on that trip as he saw the needs of the global community and of the church much more clearly. About 6 years ago, my sister and I were sifting through the voluminous files that Dad left after his passing at 96 in 2010. Kevin can remember all of those file cabinets, 4-drawer file cabinets. This is long before computers had come out, and he was a great filer, a great collector. And many of you remember, some of you remember Mrs. Crooks, who was his research associate. And who did a lot of the library research and then filed those things away. And he really had many times I said to him, especially when he moved to Loma Linda up to Washington State, I said, you know, let's get rid of some of this stuff. And he said, no, I'm going to move it all and then I'll go through it. Well, most of it he didn't go through. And so my sister and I were going through some of these filing cabinets, and as we were going through these treasures, we found a folder that was labeled DHS program. And it was his collection of the descriptions of this program from the very beginning, from the first formal document that was dated July 7, 1971, all the way through his deanship and even beyond. And there were 34 pages, and I plan to read all 34 this evening. Not really. You would shoot me. But I am going to give a copy of all 34 pages to Dr. Hildemar dos Santos. I'll give them to you later, but because you might find some interesting things there. But he took that original document, he told me, and he shared it at a meeting of the Deans of School of Health in North America before he even took it to the board of trustees of Loma Linda University. And he always said that group of deans said, go for it. That's a wonderful program. And probably only you can do it. I want to just share a little bit that came from the 4 pages, and I'm not going to share the 4 pages because it's evening. But there was a section called Need for Such a Decree Program. And he wrote, specialized training in public health has, for the most part, been a post-baccalaureate or postdoctorate program built on the specialized training of some other field, most frequently something in the health disciplines. Leaders in public health are traditionally physicians, dentists, or veterinarians who, after graduate study in public health, have specialized in this field. The traditional pattern has changed, and now a whole spectrum of public health workers are found, including public health nurses, public health nutritionists, sanitariums, health educators, epidemiologists, statisticians, and those who enter the field of public health administration. And many of the latter have business or administrative training, but frequently no background in health. Many enter public health without training and learn the maximum or the minimum about the field in an in-service experience-oriented manner. Weaknesses in this type of training are obvious. However, diversity of training and backgrounds can promote broadly based interdisciplinary programs. Since public health requires a comprehensive team approach to the problems of health and to the delivery of health services, many of the apparent weaknesses may actually be strengths. In these times of rapid change, many new concepts of health care and delivery of health services are being considered, and we need leaders in that area. In this context, we who primarily seek to provide workers for the church and secondarily for the health professions should examine the needs of the church to see if some different type of training program would provide a more effective worker for the Church of God in today's changed and changing world. And then he quoted a sentence from the book Medical Ministry on page 58. This is in the proposal. In this school, many workers are to be qualified with the ability of physicians to labor not in professional lines as physicians, but as medical missionary evangelists. And then in page 59, he quoted, "Yet as they go about their work of teaching and of healing, and link up closely with God's servants who have been called to the ministry of his work, his blessing will rest upon their labors, and marvelous transformations will be wrought. In a special sense, they will be his helping hands." The health educator trained to do health evangelism has been envisioned as filling this role. Yet it is recognized that the rational years training that was in the MPH makes it difficult to provide adequate opportunity for graduates to become authoritative in health lines. In considering then the needs of the church, as well as the broad needs of public health, the following training program is proposed. This new professional degree program was designed to provide a broad preparation in the fundamentals of public health together with an understanding of personal health and the science of its evaluation, maintenance, and promotion. It prepares a person to serve as a health counselor, a lecturer, a teacher of health, or an administrator of public or private health agency or program. It was patterned in many ways after the professional training programs rather than academic programs, particularly in medicine and dentistry. Here we are today, 50 years later. Yes, the program has iterated many times over those years, but it is still preparing students to serve the preventive health needs of the global community. And we have much to be grateful for. I thought in conclusion, actually, I thought initially that I might make a presentation called 5 things that I learned in the DHS program and 5 things I didn't learn. But I do want to just briefly mention, especially in light of the professors who contributed so much to my education and my career. And I realize when you mention names, you take the risk of missing one, but most of these individuals are deceased, unfortunately. But I just want to share a few things that I learned in this program that have been immensely helpful to me. Dr. U.D. Register, the Department of Nutrition. He was the chair. One day I was walking down the hall. He said, "Come into my office." And so I did. And he said, I'm just wondering, would you like to take nutrition? I was a health education major at that point. I hadn't even started in the doctoral program because I didn't think I needed it at that moment. And I looked at him and I said, "Dr. Register, why should I take nutrition?" And this was his reply. He said, "If you give a talk in the community about exercise and you don't mention nutrition, at least 50% of the questions that you get at the end will be about diet and nutrition." And he said, if you mention the word nutrition, 90% of the questions will be about nutrition. Well, it kind of made sense to me. And so I switched my major at that point, and I have never regretted that. And I have found that in general, his counsel to me was correct. I took theory of survey, I think is what it was called, from Dr. David Abbey. And I took statistics from Dr. Gwyneth Zimmerman. And while they were tough classes, and I had to work hard to understand many of the things they were talking about, as I look back, they taught me the value of understanding statistical analysis. And this has helped me immensely out of the pit of fanaticism and a wide variety of areas, including nutrition. It has helped me to evaluate the claims of so many kinds of this, that, and the other thing in a more logical and rational and scientific way. And I'm grateful for those hard classes. Dr. Albert Whiting, yes, he was teaching here at the school when I was here. And Carl Fisher, does anybody remember Carl Fisher? Gerald does. Larry does, excuse me. He put together a book on tropical medicine. And when I took that class, I thought, why on earth do I even have to worry about these things? I did not know that I would be going to the Philippines and then later to be in many parts of the world where those principles were very, very useful. Dr. Ken Burke. Dr. Ken Burke became a very close friend of mine after I was here at the school. But as a student, I just wasn't sure about all his tedious information would be essential about food technology. And when I got out in the world in my career, I found that he was a treasure trove, or a tremendous treasure in answering many questions. Even years later, he always patiently and kindly answered with context and with documentation. Dr. Kathleen Zalber, few of you may remember her. She at one point was the chair of nutrition here, but I never wanted to take a class from her because she had the reputation of being the hardest teacher in the school. That's certainly in nutrition. However, she badgered me. One day, I saw her in the hallway and she said, "Can you come to my office?" She must have known that I had a little break in classes. When I sat down in front of her desk, she pulled a folder out and she said, "I have gone to the registrar's office and I have a record of all the classes you've taken." And I said, "Really?" She said, "Have you ever thought about becoming a dietitian?" And I said, "No." I said, "Not on my life." And she said, "Do you know you nearly qualify?" And she said, "I think in the future it would be very helpful to you." And we had a conversation where I argued with her about why I didn't need to be a dietitian. And she was very persuasive. And she looked at my transcripts and she said, "You're meeting all of the requirements except for 2 classes." And I said, "What are those classes?" She said, "They are my classes." But she had made her point, and I decided that I was so close that I probably ought to sit for the exam, meet all the requirements. And I took both her classes and I found her to be a superb teacher. Very fair. She had high expectations. She was very organized, and I thoroughly enjoyed both of them. And I'm grateful for those classes today, even though I've never been an administrative dietitian. I wish that Dr. Joyce Hopp was here. this evening. I know Helen was here earlier. I learned a lot from Dr. Joyce. She was a very interesting and organized lecturer, and I always said if I ever taught, I'd like to be that way. But what I really learned from Dr. Hoff was this: how important it is to be very intentional about understanding your audience, organizing and documenting every detail of what you're going to be teaching, and how you were going to say it, and why it was going to be said. I remember she called me in after a class, or after I submitted an assignment, and she had it on her desk there, and she held it up to me, and she said, "What you turned in is only worth an F." And I was really surprised. I said, "But why?" And she took the time to explain to me where I had not been, where I was off the mark. And it was a very valuable lesson that has stood me well throughout my career. And there are many more that I could mention. And of course, most of you who were students at that time took a class from my father called Philosophy of Health. And I see a number of you nodding. And when I took functional anatomy, you know, when you grow up in a home, you don't always realize the blessings and the significance of your parents. But it was probably when I took functional anatomy from him that it opened my eyes to what a gifted teacher he was. And I think most of you would agree that he was he was gifted in teaching. There's no question about that. And I saw him in different light after my time here in the Doctor of Health Science program. Now, I'd just like to share 5 things briefly that I didn't learn as a student. Number 1, and that is how quickly information changes and how it obsoletes textbooks and all the articles that you went to the library and paid 10 cents a piece to make copies of. Did anybody have that experience? It would have saved me a ton of money. And I'd had it would have improved my retirement had I not spent all that money. You know, we all do the best we can. And I've learned that textbooks do get old. But I've hung on to them until my last move. Number 2, nobody taught me how to administer a lifestyle center. And I was called to do that. And I spent 10 years doing it, learning in the School of Hard Knocks. Number 3, when I left here and when I graduated and left here, I really didn't know how difficult it was to work with people in lifestyle change. I remember so well, and I'll only share one quick story. I was doing a weight control program. Lady probably 40, in her early 40s came. She wanted to lose weight. She came to the first program. She lost 8 pounds, and she quit coming. No complaints. She just didn't come. My wife and I talked to her. contacted her, talked to her. She enjoyed the program, but she just wasn't coming. The next time we did it, she was there. The next time we did the program again, she came. Each time, she lost around 8 or 9 pounds and she quit coming. After 7 programs over several years, we decided to invite her to our home for a meal. At that meal, actually sitting in the living room after the meal, she started to cry. And she told us that she loved the program. She loved what we were doing. She was happy to lose 8 or 9 pounds. But she said, when I was in college, I was raped. She said, I am afraid to become beautiful again. That was the key to understanding her struggle. And I was never really prepared to realize that in most cases, there is often a single or a multiple combination of things, that experiences that have happened in people's lives that make it hard for them to make lifestyle changes. And I'm very grateful. I'm grateful to the Lord that we were able to appoint Gail. That was her name. She's passed away now, but we pointed her, put her in contact with some counseling. And the next program she came to, she stayed through the whole thing. And she lost, if I remember correctly, about 34 pounds. And she became the beautiful woman that God had created her to be. I didn't learn those things. I didn't learn enough about it anyway here at the school. I didn't learn either, this is number 4, that personal computers, scanners, and Google was coming. And lastly, I didn't learn the reality of growing older. I took a class in Health Through the Life from Dr. Kuzma, Kay Kuzma. But it didn't, the realities of growing old at least didn't dawn on me at that time. And I didn't realize that the golden years might be discolored with a little bit of rust. This evening, my prayer is that the Doctor of Public Health program and preventive care will continue for years and years to be a source of inspiration, growth, and transformation for all the students who participate in it. May they be filled with the curiosity and eagerness to learn, and may the faculty be wise, supportive, and encouraging mentors, the same kind that I had when I was here almost 50 years ago. May all who complete this program make meaningful contributions to their families, communities, and to the world in which we live. I'd just like to share from Numbers, the 6th chapter, verses 24 to 26. May the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Harding. Before we end our program tonight on our future alumni, we just wanted to recognize just a few, with their picture up here, a few of our alumni that have recently passed. I'm sure there are more, but as we were planning this event, we thought we would just have some of them up, a few of them up here. Go back. So Gordon Botting, is there anybody here that remembers him? Oh, is it sharing, Summer? I don't know, but yeah, Gordon Botting, were you, anybody here in classes with him or knew of him? Okay, all right. I believe he ended his career, he was working for the Pacific Union. Is that correct, Fred? So I've met him a few times, but he was already graduated when I left. We're going to have Arlene come in just a minute here. So, but we've talked a lot about Dr. Blix. For time, we won't have time to show this video, but if you go on Facebook, there's a video I shared in the alumni network of him singing at one of our retreats. And I don't know how many of you were there when he was singing. So yes, it was, if you want to go on there, you can see that again. But we'll have Arlene say a few words on his behalf. And then this is Dr. Harold Waldrop. Anybody that went? Okay, so Bill and Fred. Okay, some of you know him. I don't think I ever met him in person, but and if you go online and just search for Harold Waldrop, you'll see his memorial service that was done down in Australia. So you can watch that there. And then James Peters. I know Sylvia worked with him for quite a while up at St. Helena, and I was here. He was here around in the area. How many of you went to classes or knew him or had him as a student? He was he was one of those people that had almost the whole alphabet after his name. You know, he was a dietitian, a respiratory therapist, a physician, and then also a preventive care. So very smart guy. But the thing that really impressed me the most about him was his computer skills. He had always had the latest computers. He was a Mac guy, yay for Macs. I know Jan wouldn't like that, but but he was a Mac guy and always had the latest Macs and was doing all the latest software. So he was a great guy. And if, you know, you could talk to Sylvia, she worked with him at Take 10 at St. Helena until he passed. So that was a big loss to our program. So those are the four, but Arlene, if you could just come up and say a few words. And while she's coming up, I'm just going to say, you know, we heard the history of the program. I don't know how many of you knew this, but during Glenn's time, and I was a second-year student here, the program, and Andy was here as well, the program actually got closed for a little bit, and Dr. Blix got his pink slip. So you can imagine as a student, we were like, wait, our faculty are being let go, our program is being closed, what are we going to do? Fortunately, at the time, Ruben, at that time, almost all the SA officers, myself included, I wasn't the president, I think I was the pastor or something, but our president, vice president, I mean, all of them were all preventive care. And so they went and campaigned at Dr. Barron's office. They campaigned and they basically got Glenn his job back because, you know, and then reopened the program. So there was a short time when the program, preventive care, was closed and then reopened. So thanks to Dr. Blix for holding it all together while we were sort of floundering for my second year. Fred, were you? Mm-hmm. Right. Good. That should have been about like 1990 or. Oh, yes. Yeah. So.
Some of you remember Jody Jetson and
The president.
yes, and Jennifer Mason. They went to all of the administrators of the university and pleaded. And if without their effort, it probably would not have been saved. I'd like to say it was Glenn and some of his cohorts, but it was really the students. And they said, it is such an important program and you need to save it. And they did. And so, yes, that was really it. I'm delighted to see all of you, and some of you have been to our home and many good memories and times. And Glenn would have loved to be here. He loved people and students. They were it. I came somewhere down at the bottom, but it was always whatever students needed, I'd get calls saying, I'm sorry, I haven't left the office yet. I knew why. And it's just who he was. And whoever he saw needed help, he was there. And so unselfish. And I think one of the greatest compliments a person can get when got regularly, and it would be students and graduates saying, when I have a difficult decision to make, I ask, what would Dr. Blix do? What an honor. I use it myself. And it really does help to clarify a lot. So thanks for, yes, Karam. Oh, yes. And he always did. It wasn't just let me see. He would go to the wall for students. And there were many times that he was in jeopardy because of that, because administrators would say, no. And he would say, you know, just keep pushing and pushing. And even if it caused him to get fired, he would do it because he so believed in students. They were always right. And so, yeah, it was, you know, it's a great legacy that he left us. And we can always ask, what would Dr. Glenn Blix do? And I'm the other Dr. Blix. And so I thought I should at least have a few words to tell you. So anyway, thanks for coming. And ooh.
We are giving 3 gifts special here. One for the representative of the Doctor of Health Science that we gave already to Dr. Fred Harding. And then for the Glenn Blix DRPH program, in his name, we give that to Arlene.
I married into preventive care. My doctorate's in health education. And so
Your heart
Well,
is in preventive care.
somewhere down there. So
Thank you.
yes, I slept with preventive care.
Thank you very much, Arlene. And we would like to ask Dr. Tonsta to come to the front. We have to give her also a gift to represent the ones that are in the present program, preventive care. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Now we would like to ask, now we are in the recognition time. So we would like to ask all the members of the committee that the ones that were members and the ones that are members of the preventive care committee that come to the front, and then we'll give some gifts for you, honoring your support for the program. Please. All the doctors, Dr. Beason, Dr. Nelson, who else? Well, we appreciate your support. We appreciate your participation. And Dr. Palani, please. Bill, you are a member of our committee, remember? You forgot? You are a member of our committee, Preventive Care Committee. Ask Dr., is that right, Dr. Sereni? Was Bill a member of our committee one time? Bill Andrews? Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Come here. Adam already gone. Way back, that's what we are asking for. His recognition. Now I wanna, the last group, the preventive care current students. I am holding these guys here. They wanna go home, but I say, no, please, So come to the front, every one of you. Please, 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 please. So I told them that they need to introduce themselves and tell where are you from, and then what you are gonna do with preventive care once you graduate. So
all right, my name is Elena Taneva, and I'm coming all the way from Bulgaria. I was born during the communistic time of Bulgaria, and we were very poor that we had to eat from the streets, from the garbage cans, from the street. I am standing here, I'm doing my doctorate in preventive care, and God took me in so many places in the world, already have done 50 mission trips, and right now I serve the Lord in Guam. I'm planning to, as long as I live, to work for the Lord. And I have a quote I would like to share that in medical ministry says that those that do medical missionary work of a divine origin has the most glorious mission on earth. And said they stand like Christ, as Christ represents the character of his Father while in this world. I would like to serve the Lord for as long as I can, and I would never like to forget where I'm coming from. And I would like always to work with those that don't have food, don't have the blessings that I do have, and to spread the word until he comes back. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alicia Carranza, and I'm finishing up my third year in the DRPH in preventive care. I am currently wrapping up my doctoral project, which is a trauma-informed healthy lifestyle program for young adults. And I hope to do teaching after. I hope to walk in many of the great footsteps of my instructors and professors and be able to teach other public health professionals, as well as conduct research around preventing ACEs and healthy living. So I'm very excited to be part of the preventive care family.
Hello, my name is Krista Lamont. I am a brand new preventive care student. And I'm a mental health therapist by trade. I specialize in trauma therapy. I work primarily with veterans. That's my passion, but I'll work with pretty much anybody that's traumatized. Other than little kids, that's not my thing, so I don't do that. What I found was a lot of my clients have a lot of like comorbid health issues, pain, chronic pain. That's the biggest thing. And I love movement. I was a dancer growing up. And so I wanted to be able to combine my love and passion for movement and healthy lifestyle and mental health, and just, I hate the term living your best life, but basically help people to live their best life. Everybody that comes through my office, I just absolutely love them, and I want the best for them all the way around. And so I realized that I didn't know enough. The more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. So I came back to school and wanted to do this, and I never thought I would do this. And like Dr. Dos Santos says, we all go on a little bit of a journey. I can't really project forward what I'm going to do with this. All I know is I look back at my life, and every time there was a weird step that I thought, why am I going here? I don't understand why I'm getting this job. When I look back in retrospect, it has all led me on a very specific path, and I did not know that public health was going to be my path. And once I got here, I went, oh, it all makes sense. These are my people. And this is why I felt kind of out of sorts in every other room that I've been in, but I love it here. And I'm very grateful and, you know, just really in awe of everybody in this room. Everybody does just the most amazing things when you talk to them. So it's a very humbling experience to be part of this family. So thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Rianne Leal. I am an alumnus of School of Public Health and Dr. DeSantis Lifestyle Management Program here in the MPH. And I'm also a candidate going to be graduating this spring, knock on wood. I'm currently using my preventive care health coaching model in a local public health department And so I get to talk to my patients and clients, and not only with their communicable diseases, but also with nutrition. We have to connect them with, well-rounded, education. And then I'm also doing adjunct professorship that I recently got. So from all the faculty here in Loma Linda, I will be able to use my experience with all the wonderful teachers here as well in academics. So I just appreciate everyone's leadership here, and I feel very equipped for the workforce and for preventive care in my career. So.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle Paycheck. I am a third year student in the program. It is zoomed by super fast. I'm a dietitian. I also teach at one of the Cal State campuses. And like some of the other people have said, my colleagues here, I'm really sure how this fits in yet, because honestly, every time I have made a plan for my academic life, God made another plan, but it was a better plan. It was a better plan. And it brought me back here. I started out at Loma Linda a while ago in the School of Allied Health, getting my nutrition and dietetics degree. And now came back. Shockingly, they accepted me a second time. And I'm looking for ways now to incorporate the lifestyle medicine and preventive care aspects into the Cal State's public health program. So curriculum planning takes a long time, as some of you know, but that's okay, because I'm here for the long haul. So let's see what the future brings. I'm sure it'll be good. Thank you.
Michelle is the editor for the cookbook, okay?
Oh, yes, the cookbook. Oh, do you want me to put on a plug for the cookbook?
Yep.
Oh, so you all got a copy of the Preventive Care 50th Anniversary Cookbook by email, but if you did not get it, come see me. Like, I'm sitting over there kind of by Dr. Beeson, and I'll take your email and then I'll send you a copy so you have it. Okay. All right. Thank you. Oops.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alabadi Bierman. I'm graduating in spring, so a couple months from now. Oh, I'm from Saudi Arabia. I live in Beaumont now. I am a research specialist for Riverside County, and I'm planning to use my preventive care experience there for their research in maternity health and childcare. And I'm also starting my business as a health coach, since I am certified now with the help of my husband. He's the behind the scenes person. So, and I'm so excited to be graduating this year, and also to use all of my skills and knowledge with my clients. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vivian Navarro. Like many other students, I also came to Loma Linda for my master's. Here, I graduated in the program Nutrition Coordinated in Dietetics. And I moved back to Loma Linda because of work and school. I'm currently the director for the CAPS program at Loma Linda, which stands for the Community Academic Partners in Service here. We're the bridge between programs helping the community and bringing students to their service learning component on the campus, and to help the community with being a student, a third-year student in the preventive care program, being eligible to sit for the RD exam to become a registered dietitian. It's an honor to sit in a room with aspiring colleagues, with aspiring staff members who are on the same path that I'm in now. It's very inspiring to know that I'm in a place where many others have stood. So in the future, I hope to bridge community service and nutrition to further enhance the well-being of the community. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, I'm Greg Cohen. I live in Los Angeles by way of New York. I'm also a graduate of the Master's in Public Health program in Lifestyle Management. I also received my national board certification for health and wellness coaching. I sat for the exam. I think I was the first one to pass it, right, in the program, back a year and a half ago. I'm currently an adjunct professor at West Coast University. I just started teaching for them, and I also am a content matter expert. I created 2 courses for their public health programs. So one in health planning and promotion. So thank you to Dr. Nelson and her class, because it actually helped me write the program, and then professional writing class in public health as well. What I plan to do when I graduate, which will hopefully be, Dr. Medina, when am I going to graduate? Maybe hopefully by the summer, I'll get my diploma, even if I have to walk next year. But I plan to combine all of my background. I have a culinary background. And so I work in food. I work in health and wellness right now and fitness, and combining my DRPH to do something entrepreneurial to improve the health of our population. Thank you.
Greg is a vegan cook, and he is a top student for GPA 4.
Hello, everyone. My name is Raza Shaheen. I'm from Saudi Arabia too. I came from a decent family and a first graduate student, like with the DRPH program in my family. So I dedicate this degree for my family, especially my mom and my dad. Currently, I'm working on my last step and hopefully graduate this year and walk this year. I just launched a program called Nudra. It's like a health and wellness coaching program. I launched a program in my country. So I collaborate with different like hospital and school to help students understand what is health. And the mission of the program is to bring gift of health to life. So I'm trying to help people understand, what is healthy lifestyle, how to stay healthy, how to invest on your health and love themselves. So the program called Nudra means special. So I want them to feel special and feel that they are capable to change their life. So yeah, I'm very thankful. I'm very I really want to give, I want to say like a special thing for Dr. Medina, Dr. Artiga, Dr. DeSantos, and also Dr. Beeson for helping me launching this program. Dr. Artiga told me so many times, you can do it, because I was kind of shy. I'm a little bit shy person, so I felt like, no, yes, believe me or not. So I was like, no, I can't do this and I can do that. But thank God we just launched the program and collaborate with different hospitals, and I got a lot of good feedback about it. So wish me luck. Thank you so much.
We have 4 students from Saudi Arabia, and we are losing them because we are online now, because the government requires them to be on campus, even though we hope that this will change in the near future. But we are happy with those students and be able to help a country that is far away from here.
Good evening. Hello, everybody. My name is Abel Alvarez. I was born in Peru. And while I was working in Africa as a missionary, I had to face malaria and Ebola. And after seeing so many things, I decided to go into public health, not because I was afraid of these diseases, rather because I want to be better equipped to fight against them. And I think increasing the health of the certain populations will help them to fight diseases in a better way. So right now, I just got the approval from the IRB to do my research. So I'm very happy. Thank you. To work with the Hispanic community. Later on, after I'm done getting my diploma or something like that, I will decide what to do. My desire is to be a professor and to share my knowledge with other generations. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Umang Sharma, and just started the second year of Preventive Care program. No big plans like others. Still trying to consume what I'm learning and how I'm gonna plan out, because I switched my gear from my physician life to be in public health. So I think I'm at the base at this time. So let's see how things go, and I leave everything on God. So let's see. Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Medina. My name is Ruben Chipuli. I am from Mexico. I actually started, I wanted to be a psychologist first, and then life took me to exercise science and now public health. Preventive care was the one thing that embedded all of that because of health coaching, then lifestyle, and then exercise. So that's why I'm here. Hopefully at the end, I can do teaching. I love to teach. So hopefully, I know I have to now fight with Abel and who else wants to teach here, but that's what it is, right? So we can all be better and get better, help out the students.
Thank you very much. I need to ask Dr. Eric No to come to the front. I thought you came with the other members, did you? Did you came with the other members of the committee? Did you get a prize?
No, that's okay.
He was a member of our preventive care committee for years, and this is the guy that opened the fund, Mervyn Harding Fund for the school, and here is your recognition. Thank you.
I felt I needed to say just a few words, and I hope you would be patient and stand by, and I won't take too long. This is a very special year for me. I had to make a special choice. I had to come to choose in coming here to celebrate with you the 50th year, or meet with my classmates in the 60th School of Medicine here. And so you see here what my choice was. I also want to say I had the great privilege of knowing personally and studying under Dr. Mervyn Harding. He was not only my professor, but he was also my friend and mentor. And that's why I want to thank my wife for joining me. You see, we have a family feud. She's from the School of Nursing. And of course, she wants to support the School of Nursing, which is understandable. But gradually, School of Nursing is like 100 years, and this is 50 years. They've got 50 years ahead of us. I said, they got a lot of support. Let's help the School of Public Health because you really need it. And it's in honor of Dr. Harding. It's very remarkable. He was the one that first called it the School of Health. And if you stop and think, that is a real, true, accurate name. See, public health is probably the oldest specialty, but clinical preventive medicine and personal health are very new, actually. And then he also came up with the idea of preventive care. As you know, the first curriculum was the Doctor of Health Science. And again, if you stop and think, that was a very appropriate name. See, School of Public Health, has its own connotation. But preventive care and Doctor of Health Science, that had a very significant meaning. And I remember sitting on the committee with Dr. Hart as we agonized over this when we had to change it to the Doctor of Public Health. Only because there was not enough, other schools who would produce Doctor of Health Science, and our graduates were having a hard time getting recognition and finding jobs. So we finally had to change the name, not because we like to, but I just want to know the history of it, that everything Dr. Harding did had a background of very careful thought, and I would say inspiration. So this is part of your heritage. And I'm glad that I recognize many of you here. And I wish I could call upon all the early graduates. It took a lot of courage, perseverance, and determination for all the preventive care people, especially the early pioneers. I really felt for them, and I carried a heavy burden on my heart for helping them get going. Are there any here, the graduates who were the first 5 years? I wonder. Are you really? Wonderful. Any after first 10 years? Good. And they have produced some really outstanding people. People that were shown earlier on the screen, and including someone he left and he said he was coming back, but I don't know whether he'll make it. Dr. Wes Youngberg, and Jan Michaelis and Fred Harding, and I'm sorry, I don't even. Oh, sure, Kelly. You look different. I'm sorry, but I remember all those names. Yes. So I really want to commend all of you for hanging in there. It's been difficult, hard times that we weren't sure whether it is going to survive, but the fact that it has, we give gratitude that God has saved this program for a special purpose. I also want to say a special word of thanks to Dr. Hildemar for hanging there and keeping this program going through difficulties and hardships. And we hope that we will all continue to support him. All through since my adolescent years, I came across a motto, which was the motto of Michelangelo. You ever heard of him? Michelangelo is a very genius. And he had a motto in Latin called Ancora Impara, or Ancora Imparo, if someone changes the grammar of it. And all it meant was still learning. I had this on my door of my office for many years, and people would ask about it, and I would tell them that's my favorite idea and thought, and I pass on to you, and I pass it on to you too. If you will keep that attitude in your heart, still learning, whether it be physically, mentally, spiritually, you will find yourself on the right track, just as Dr. Harding always lived that life. Thank you.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for your support. I just want to make a few other announcements. Where is Esther? Esther, so let's have a hand for her. She is. So everything that worked today, I mean, was her responsibility, and she did an excellent job. We are thankful for that. Please, if you go on your right here, you can take a look at our posters. We have a list of 43 publications for the last 14 years in preventive care. The articles are there. We have pictures. We might still receive your video shots, so we are going for that. So don't forget about that. And then there are some gifts there that you can pick it up for free, okay, when you leave. And then the last announcement is that we have Robert Daniel here that is working with us, and this is the first time we are going to start a Loma Linda series, Loma Linda lifestyle series, to put in the social media and to put in the medias around. So we are very thankful to his team to work on that and produce videos that we are going to use our students, our centenarians, our professors here,
and our colleagues in the School of Public Health. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next 50 years.
Obrigado. Thank you.